Well, I want to give another update here, and I'm going to get into some more conspiratorial stuff because, you know, silver's cooking and it's moving up, but you got to watch for the flanks because I always say, you know, you can have a gazillion dollars, but if you don't have common sense and you don't have your shit together in other ways, that don't mean nothing, right? So anyway, like say silver goes up to $5,000 an ounce. I don't know. I'm just kidding. But hey, who the hell knows what the hell can happen, right? I'm using cat sense here. He's got whiskers. And by the way, if you follow along this channel, this is Putin the Cat. The other guy is Rocky. I don't know where the hell he went. I don't know if he's under here. Maybe he is. No, I don't know where he went. That other guy, he's starting to come around. He's he's like a feral cat. You know, if anybody's wondering what the hell happened to that other cat, he's around. He's actually getting a lot better. He's being a really, really good cat. He's not feral. He's scared of people, but he's getting more friendly. But anyway, I want to get on with this thing because, you know, you see obviously what's going on is silver's going up a lot, right? I think it's going to continue to go up. Fine. But, you know, that ain't the whole answer because I want to tell you, you better watch for what's happening on the flanks. The flanks, you know, everything's looking rosy. Yeah, something else is going on. I'm going to get in a couple conspiratorial type things because, first off, I always said you should be prepared, not just with silver, but also food, energy. You know, like the last video I was talking about with old school cars. Now, you know, there's another reason for that because, you know, I don't want to throw this, you know, doom and gloom stuff out here, but I suspect if there's going to be a real financial collapse, I don't know for sure, but, you know, history's full of stuff that happened, you know, once. You know, nothing happened for like a gazillion years, and nothing we got written down in history, and then all of a sudden something happened, and it was bad, and then it got written down, right? You know, if you look at history, that's what it is. You know, everything's going along, nothing's going on, we don't write nothing down until something happens different. They don't write it down. What I'm saying is, what I think, you know, if there's a global power play and you're looking for catastrophe, you know, in the game, right? It isn't all just in a financial area. It's in with other things. And I'll tell you one thing. You know, since we got such an electronics society today, all our communications, YouTube, everything out there, depends upon, you know, the electric grid. You know, the internet depends upon, you know, clear waves to transmit information, however the hell it's transmitted. I don't even know the technology behind it. But what I'm talking about is there always could be something coming up, which could be EMP. Now, I don't want people going freaking out, but I always kind of like obliquely have been prepared for that. You know, I put a video out on, you know, old school car technology, but you know what? Old school cars are actually things that are EMP proof. They are. You might not be able to pump the gas to get the damn thing going, but hey, whatever, hey, you might have a 300 miles worth of travel in that damn thing for whatever time period, you know, you might use it for, or whatever, you know. So, I'm just saying that, you know, I hate to say this, but I don't, you know, if there's actually you know, the game going on with the, you know, if you look at conspiracy, I'm going to throw in a little more conspiracy in this video. If you look at conspiratorial history, actually World War I had specific goals, basically globalism. World War II had specific goals, globalism. And I don't know about World War III, but who the hell knows what can come up. You know, the United States could actually cave in really fast over just one EMP. We are vulnerable, and I know they talked about this crap for a gazillion years and nothing ever happened, but, you know, that's something you should be prepared for. And my audience here is pretty much people that are more or less preparing for financial problems, but there's a lot of games that are going on, and I'm going to say this because I guess I never really revealed this before, but I am fairly well read on what the military, especially even what Russia was trying to do to populations, to control populations through frequencies. It's been going on since the 70s. Now, you know, I have videos out on health and stuff like that with Dr. Robert C. Beck, PhD, and he developed like a biotuner and stuff, which helps, you know, heal the mind or give your brain top performance and the best short-term memory. You know, I use that thing every day, as a matter of fact, for that reason. But he also talked about, he was an expert in his field, and actually one of the people that work with the Defense Department, that they use frequencies to control populations. In Russia, they were doing this. I knew this for a fact. I mean, I knew this for decades. It's nothing new to me. But the thing is, the elite, the real elite, the ones nobody on the conspiracy channels talks too much really about, you know, will use this technology against populations more than likely in the United States too, to make people compliant, to make people, I don't know, just like lemmings. And you wonder why people don't wake up. That's probably partly why. Now, I'm going to tell you one thing, some of the stuff I do, where I think that I stay super alert on a lot of things. Now, I know I'm really throwing out a real conspiratorial video in this silver update, more or less. But what I do is I use the Beck Biotuner, the one I was referring to, that was developed by Robert Beck, which gives it gives the best healing brain frequencies and gives you the best short-term memory. I'll also take a lot of coconut oil every day, which improves the ketones in the brain. I'll use the Beck blood electrification unit. Now, also I want to say something about that, because it's been alleged in some of the conspiracy channels that there's nanotechnology being implemented, whereby people are having nanotechnology, and I know this is really out there, having nanotechnology in their body, where it's almost like microprocessors doing things and all this kind of crap. And I'm going to tell you one thing, I don't really know this for a fact, but I bet you stuff like blood electrification screws that stuff up. That's just a guess, but I almost guess it would. I do know that it does harm microbes. It does cause microbes not to be able to replicate in the blood, but I would almost think if there's some nanotechnology being used against people, blood electrification at very low amperage, which is in the microamps, it's very, very low, way below a tens unit, probably enough to freaking screw that up. I mean, it's like I said, this is going to be a very conspiratorial video, but I do know that it seems to keep me from ever getting sick. I do know that. I mean, it's got limitations, but it's pretty damn good stuff. I do all this stuff. I also now I'm started doing raw vegetables. I take loads of whole food vitamins, and I also use the Lukowski coil every day, which I know has the capability of pretty much destroying any kind of microprocessor that's too close to it. So, you know, if there's some kind of Illuminati bullshit where they're trying to control the population, I doubt it's working on me very well. I doubt it. Not in the least. Not in the least. You know, so just want to figure I'd pass this stuff out because, you know, I've read all the, this is really way out there for conspiracy stuff, but I read read the way out conspiracy stuff, but I'm going to tell you, some of the stuff that seems really way out ain't so way out, because a lot of it's been done in Russia, and it's been known to have been done in Russia on populations in the 70s. They were using frequencies on factory workers to keep them happy, to keep their products moving. Because basically the New World Order is just one big damn corporation. You're not a freaking human. You're an asset. You're basically something, you're expendable, and you know, you got a useful life, and they want to get the most out of you. That's the New World Order game. And you know, the elitists probably got ways that they think they could probably keep themselves alive a lot longer than you think. Now, personally, me, I think I got ways I could do that too, except I'm not bulletproof or something like that. But you know, I think I got ways to do that too. And actually, I'm going to get something else, I think, later. I think it's an Altier. It's called an Altier Robin pad type rifle machine. I'm going to use it with a plasma device on top of it with the argon bulb. So I don't know if I don't understand everything about it. I'm still studying it. But I think actually a lot of the stuff that goes on in the populations where people are not waking up and are just ho-hum happy with shit, Hey, it might be a frequency program. Maybe. So I'm going to tell you this because not too many people really are. You know, I don't want. You know, I don't like this. I don't like the Alex Jones drama deal. I don't like this David Icke lizard people stuff. But some of the stuff I'm just telling you right now that's really far out there, it's probably not far out there. At least I know some parts of it are real, because I know I used to read a lot of true military intelligence stories and articles from like some of the best people, and you know, this technology's been known for like, I don't know, 40 years. You know, where they can actually use frequencies to influence people. It's been known. And I know Dr. Robert C. Beck. I know we see, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but I got videos on some of his stuff. Now I know Dr. Robert C. Beck makes some wild claims on some of the stuff he says can do and all this. He blows it all out of proportion. But he's a little bit of a disinformation agent in some ways. But it's this stuff is still useful up to a point. It's just as long as you realize it has limitations. But a lot of things where you can actually keep a very clear head on stuff is through using some of these electronic devices. I use them. Yeah, I use them. I don't know. I feel like they give me a hell of a lot of energy anyway. I don't give a shit. You know, I figure maybe I'm like an elitist too. I don't give a shit. You know? Except I'm doing it for like pennies on a dollar. They're paying big bucks. They're probably paying some shithead a lot of money for their crap, and I'm paying hardly nothing. It's working just about as good. But, you know, I'm going to actually recommend that, you know, people keep a clear head on a lot of things. I realize, you know, I don't want to put this out like the tinfoil hat shit too much, but there's some truth to this stuff. There's actually mind control going on in the United States through various methods. It's been known. And, you know, one of the problems we have where things aren't going in the right direction and people don't give a damn too much is due to that fact. I say it's a fact, but I really can't prove it 100%. I just know that the technology's been there. I know the Russians had it since the 70s. You know, the Americans have always said they know how to do it, but they don't do it against populations. But if you trust, you know, all the alphabet soup agencies in the United States that they don't do anything against the populations, then you could say, well, that's the premise. But, you know, I do know it's possible, because I know the technology's been around since the 70s, and the Russians used to use it on like factory workers and stuff like that to keep them happy, you know, all this kind of shit, you know. So they can work them 12 hours a day and whatever, and they're all smiling, you know, like they're on drugs or something. And, you know, this stuff actually does work. Does work. It can work for benefit or harm, one way or the other. It can make, and actually even the Russians used to use this on Western business people, or actually it was businessmen. I don't know if there's a businesswoman going over there with deals, but it's probably just businessmen. That they would go over there and they give them a presentation, and they have frequencies and stuff in the background to try to, you know, get them to bite, and, you know, whereby they, you know, invested in Russia. You know what I mean? I know it's been around. And I'm going to tell you right now, what I think's going on with the elite, the anti-American attitude that's going on throughout the world, that's being perpetrated by the elite all the way. You know, it's almost like some of these people aren't even thinking. They just hate Americans, you know, in other countries. They ain't even thinking. They ain't even thinking exactly why. They don't even know why. It's you guys are the bad guys. You did this. And, you know, they ain't even looking at other countries under a microscope. And you actually look at it fair and square. Actually, the United States is freaking heads and shoulders above everybody. As a matter of fact, most countries in the world, if they had the military might of the United States, oh, forget it, man. They'd be using it left and right. I mean, yeah, the United States used their military might, but if it was under some of the regimes in the world that exist today, if they had the might of the United States military, oh, they'd be using it. But I'm going to tell you right now, I think that's another Illuminati bullshit plan to actually smear the United States in the eyes of everybody And, you know, that's just part of Putin's game, too. I think he's playing his card, according to the elite. I think he works hand in hand with them all the way. Now, I saw something recently on, I'm kind of ad-libbing here a little bit. I guess it was on Russia Today or Abigail Breaking the Set, Russia Today, or whatever the hell it was. She was talking about Valentine's Day, which was, the other day. And she said, she was like, basically giving a very disparaging review, because she said it really wasn't from Saint Valentine, where, you know, the Catholic Church later called it, you know, after Saint Valentine. It really came from a pagan Roman holiday where the Romans took animal skins and they whipped the women and to give them fertility or something like that. And I was like, and she's saying this stuff in her, you know, hoity-toity voice, and I'm thinking, lady, you probably wish you were whipped with some animal skins. I guess nobody whipped you with animal skins for Valentine's Day, and you're pissed off. So, you know, that's, you know, when I look at that shit, I'm like, you know, Russia Today is always looking to take cheap shots at, you know, America, so I give them shots right back, you know what I mean? That's the way I look at it. Because they're a bunch of bullshit, though, you know? But you notice our Western media could really tear up a lot of stuff that's going on in Russia, but they don't. They don't. It's actually, that's a real oligarchy to the max. But I'm going to tell you right now, it's not just like the East to West. It's like the elitists are all over the globe. And they're all in their respective current countries, and they're all pretty much working together. So silver, I know a lot of people look at silver and they're like saying, yeah, it's going up in dollars. Yeah. You know, we'll say it went up to $2,000 an ounce. What next? I'm going to tell you right now, all the money in the world isn't going to save your ass if you're not thinking what's on your flanks. And I'm saying one thing that's on your flank is EMP attack. Not that I want to say the sky's falling, you know. But I always obliquely address that situation where I go back old school technology. You know, I mean, if there's an EMP attack, I got vehicles that can run, and I got fuel stored up and all this other bullshit. It wouldn't affect me, but it would affect everybody else, you know what I mean? That's just how I think. And actually, almost everything they got out there, you can combat with old school technology. But the high tech, now, I don't know if it's 100%. You know, I have to really shoot from the hip with this. I just have to figure, if the Russians had frequencies and they used it against their populations, and they tried to use it against the United States populations, allegedly, and I read about this for decades. I mean, they've been doing this since the 70s. If they had the technology back then, I'll guarantee you the United States has that technology, including the alphabet super tech agencies, you know, all these, you know, an NSA, the CIA, whatever, you know. And I'm not saying the whole government's bad, but there's always elements. And I would assume that they're using these technologies today against the population, and that's really why a lot of people don't wake up. It may be partly the reason why. I'm shooting from the hip here when I'm saying this, but it's not too much of a stretch of imagination. But the way to protect yourself against it is some of those devices I talk about, because not only are they good for health, like the Lukovsky coil seems to give you more energy. I don't know what the hell it does. It seems to bring up it's supposed to bring up the frequencies of the cells and things like that to you know, higher frequency if the cellular frequency is going too low, and it brings them up to normal, up to optimal levels again. But using a little common sense, if there's some kind of nanotechnology being used against the human body for control purposes, you know, with some high tech that, you know, sounds out there with science fiction from a Hollywood movie, but you got to also remember Hollywood movies kind of hint at stuff too. But say there's something like that, you would almost, a little redneck common sense would tell you, you know, backwoods mechanical common sense would tell you that, you know, something like the Lukovsky coil, which could ruin electronic chips if they're too close to the coil, would actually destroy the nanotechnology that's probably if it's being used against humans. Interesting, huh? So, I mean, there's multi-purposes behind a lot of these electronic devices. Even a blood electrification device, I heard about different things where they said, there's been far out conspiracy theories where they took people's blood and they found like nanotechnology in the blood, and you're wondering, it was like microchips or shit. I don't know how true this is, but I'm going to tell you right now, if you're using a blood electrification device, it's probably screwing that shit up, maybe. Who knows? So, I know it's real tinfoil hat shit, but I'm just telling you right now, if silver, I think silver's going to spike up to some ungodly amount that in the future, maybe a few years from now, that will surprise the hell out of people. But when there's a financial collapse, money is not going to be your only defense. You're going to have to think outside the box on a lot of things. And I'm going to tell you right now, sometimes the simplest shit in the world can really screw up some highly expensive, complex technology. The things I'm actually putting out for health videos, if you look at some of those videos, the Lukowski coil and everything like that, they can have more than one purpose. If frequencies are being used against populations, the BT Biotuner from Soda Instruments may combat that. Maybe the Lukowski coil might combat that. Maybe the blood electrification device might combat that. And maybe some of the nutrition out there might combat that. So, I'm just pointing this out because I'm aware of the way out conspiracies, and I usually don't like going down this rabbit hole too much, but I will on this one video. Because I'm just saying, using a little common sense without getting too complicated about it, the Russians have had this technology whereby they use frequencies to influence people's moods, even populations. It's been known. It's been known in intelligence circles for decades. It's been known. They've had this. I am sure it's known within our intelligence circles too. Which, if you can assume, like, a lot of people realize that Hollywood is about brainwashing and all this kind of garbage, you might assume it's a little further than that. I don't know it for sure. I don't have any damn proof. But just using some shooting from the hip common sense, But you notice I'm not freaking out about it, you know what I mean? The stuff I normally do for good health and, to give you the best short-term memory and the strongest body and all that type of stuff, actually works against these supposed, alleged, possibly bad things that might be going on at the same time. So, I just want people to look at the flanks, because while you're looking ahead, you're getting tunnel vision at this number, silver. And to protect yourself, you're going to have to look for what's coming from left field and what's coming from right field. And I know when you're looking at me, it's the other way around. I guess this is your left, that's my right, whatever. But you know what I mean. And so, not to also be a worrywart. That's the other thing. Keep a cool head about it. But, I try to put this real conspiratorial, way down the rabbit hole type of information out in a calm manner. But it's not bullshit. I'm telling you right now. There's more to it than you think. Weather modification's been known for many years. I know all this bullshit. I know I see this stuff on the internet. It gets like this big drama and blah, 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 the sky's falling. There is games going on. But people can fight back in simple ways. But you don't want to panic. And just remember that. That's number one thing. You want to keep a cool head about whatever you do. And a lot of times, it's a combination of old school, but maybe some high tech. I'll just leave you with that. So, but anyway, it looks like silver's going to be flying up here pretty good, because, I guess that was the limit, 18. I was kind of guessing that. It may well be. Also, I just want to add one note on here because I know there's been a chart passed around about the stock market and the comparison between now and 1929. I'm going to say this. I don't think there's going to be any kind of crash in the stock market anywhere near what they had in 1929. The reason I'm saying this, I'm almost 100% sure of this. It would happen if there wasn't all these different things they could do behind the scenes. I mean, since we had the crash in 87, in October of 87, 1987, there's been a lot, you know, I know they nickname it the plunge protection team. There's a lot of stuff they can do that will limit how far down the stocks will go. If I took a ballpark guess of what the stock market correction will be this year, I would say 30%. Which, you know, it went up 30% 2013. So it may have a 30%, you know, in 1 year. To have a 30% correction in 2014 is not too outlandish. I don't know what the hell's going to happen 5 years from now, 3 years from now, but I'd say that's, you know, there's going to be a correction this year, but it's not going to be the bottom's going to fall out. But I want people to kind of look around at some of the other stuff I put out because I think I'm about the only one that's putting out some of these angles on a lot of stuff. And I'm not really putting out the videos with going down the rabbit hole too much where you're getting into the real conspiratorial stuff. But I'm kind of obliquely putting it out that way. And I'm going to tell you right now, the smartest, shrewdest people in the world, I'm almost guaranteed they're using frequencies against the populations in general. I think so. Mind control is a major, major portion of control. Big time, big time. And I'm telling you that not only through nutrition, but also through some of these electronic means, you can thwart them bad. and you know, that's... There's not enough people doing it, though. You know, to me, I'd almost guess that if there's any kind of that shit going on, and it's, and, you know, I'm part of the population that's being subjected to this crap, and I bet you it don't even affect me in the least. Probably not. Probably not. That's probably why I think's outside the box, and I can see clearly what's coming up most of the time. Most of the time. Without looking at the lunar cycles, too. I'll just leave you with that.